Hello, my name is Gregor Mowat. I'm one of the co-CEOs and co-founders of Lockbox. I spent a career in the accounting profession working with KPMG in many different countries around the world. I never worked for them in the UK. And during my travels with them, I came across the issue of financial exclusion in many different emerging markets. And I saw firsthand the damage that does to people's lives. It's very difficult for you to achieve what you want, your goals in life, if you have difficulty even participating in the most basic elements of the financial system, such as opening a bank account. So I went through that career, moving around the world. I finished up in Russia and the old Soviet Union, where I was one of the executive committee of KPMG's business there. And after doing that for 5 years in Russia, I moved back to the UK as my kids went into education, and aimed to set myself up as an angel investor. And I had the great good fortune to be introduced to Tom Eyre, who you'll hear from in a second, who was at that time looking for some investment in his first financial inclusion business, Credit Improver. So we hit it off. I invested as a minority, and we came to know and work together. And very soon I found that I was working full-time in the business alongside Tom, spending more time with him than I was with my spouse and family. And at that point, when we realized the parts of the financial exclusion problem that Credit Improver was not fully addressing, we decided to pivot and create Lockbox, and we went into that as partners.
Excellent, thanks Gregor. So my name's Tom Eyre. I'm the other co-CEO and co-founder of the business, and I'll talk to you in just a moment about Lockbox and what it is we do and our mission. But before that, a bit about my background. So I worked in the British Army. When I left that, I went and worked for an investment company overseas. So I went to Kazakhstan first, and then on to China from there, and then back to the UK. So having worked in a couple of different places around the globe, I decided to set up a corporate restructuring business in the UK. So stayed in the UK. This is before the last global financial crisis. And through that period of time, we ended up acquiring a number of businesses that had much more of a consumer slant to them. And it was at that point that I got a really good insight into what financial exclusion was actually meaning for consumers in the UK. I'd seen it overseas, and I'd seen it at that time in my family as well. And I had an encounter with my sister where she had been rejected for £4 a week finance on a sofa. So she left university, got a great job in the city, was being paid really well, and she'd applied for interest-free finance on a sofa to deck out her first flat, and she was rejected. She couldn't understand why, and I said to her, well, look, that's the no-file, thin-file problem. And this started what became a decade's worth of kind of passion and obsession with trying to end financial exclusion in its many forms. So roll on about a year after that, and I launched what was then called Credit Improver, which was the Genesis product that Gregor mentioned earlier of Lockbox, designed to help young people to build a demonstrable credit history. But that was the only thing it was trying to tackle, because at the time I didn't really understand what financial exclusion was in all of its facets. Roll on 2016, Gregor joined the business to my very good fortune. And then in 2017, together we co-founded Lockbox. So Lockbox's stated mission is to end financial exclusion globally. So no doubt a huge goal, but one that we're really proud of the success we've had so far in trying to counter that. So we've helped several 100,000 people, growing every single day by a really large number across 2 countries. So we are making great inroads into tackling that particular problem. But when it all started, and we had to look at financial exclusion and really properly understand the problem that we were trying to face down, we settled upon our own kind of definition of what financial exclusion meant, and therefore what we needed to do as a business in order to solve for that particular problem. So where Credit Improver originally had solved for an opportunity issue, so consumers lacked the opportunity to build a demonstrable credit history. If you're very young, if you're new into credit, if you're new into the country, if you have been a member of the ex-armed forces, or if you simply by choice or circumstance haven't borrowed much, you need an opportunity to build a credit history from scratch, or sometimes you need a second opportunity, a second chance if you've had problems in the past. So opportunity became one of the pillars that we knew we needed to address. The second one was capability. If you are coming into a financial system for the first time, or if you're trying to re-enter it after you've had problems, it is important that you have the capability and the understanding to know how to survive and thrive within that system. Something which I'm sure you'll all probably agree, something we don't do well in this country, something that isn't done very well in the US where we also operate, and actually something that hasn't been done very well anywhere around the globe that we've worked or lived, is financial education. So certainly for us here in the UK and for our business in the US, it's clear that whether it's school, college, or university, we are spitting people out into two of the most complex financial services sectors in the world, and we do almost nothing to educate people on how to survive or thrive. So the second pillar of our business was capability. And the last one was resilience. It's all well and good being included in the system. It's all well and good being able to get access for the first time, to be able to access a better product than you could have access to previously. But what is it about your financial setup that stops you being bounced back out of an included state and into an excluded state when things go a little bit wrong? And ultimately, that is what resilience is all about. And it's kind of summed up as part of opportunity, as part of capability, but actually we look at that as savings as well, pure and simple. Having something that protects you, the buffer between you and the speed bumps that we're inevitably going to hit along the road that might well cause you bigger damage if you were to be bounced out of a position where you were currently included. So when we pulled all of that together, we realized that if we were going to really properly tackle the problem of financial exclusion around the globe, that we would need to tackle all three of those things in one. And extremely proud we managed to do that. We believe we've managed to do that in a really good way. And I'm going to hand back to Gregor to talk about Lockbox Save, our first way of doing that.
Absolutely, thanks, Tom. So our first product, Lockbox Save, we launched out of pilot in July 2017, and it's been running very, very effectively since then. As Tom already alluded to, we've helped several 100,000 people to build their credit history. That's the opportunity that Tom was referring to, while they save, building up their financial resilience. And we have, in tandem with Lockbox Save, we have our Lockbox Learn series of 24 emails over a 12-month period that take you from financial zero to financial hero, and get huge amounts of traction, open rates of between 40% at the beginning, all the way still 12 months later to 20%. So people are getting a lot out of those. And so how do we do that? And first of all, you come to Lockbox and you choose how much you want to save each month. And that can be a sum between £20 and £200. What we then do is we take a year's worth of that savings, we lock it up in a lockbox, and give you a 0% APR loan to buy it. You then pay that loan off over the 12 months, and each of those payments, it's a fixed sum installment loan, each of those payments are reported to the 3 credit reference agencies, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And that is the part that builds up your credit history. If you make those payments, then lenders will be able to access the credit files from the credit bureaus and will see that you're a trustworthy borrower, that you repay your debts, and therefore that will drive your credit score upwards. And more importantly, because credit score is just a theoretical number, much more importantly, it will make you more creditworthy in the eyes of lenders, which then therefore means you'll be able to get access to the credit that you may previously have been denied, therefore thereby increasing your opportunities again, and that becomes a self-fulfilling circle. The more products that you access over the course of a lifetime that you then manage responsibly, the greater the opportunities that are given to you, the lower the interest rates, the better your financial life, and you can steadily move up what they call the credit ladder to becoming a prime borrower, where you have the best rates for absolutely everything. That is how Lockbox Save. That's how Lockbox Save works. But that's not the only thing that we've got cooking up at Lockbox. I think Tom's going to take you through some of our plans and our product pipeline.
Yeah, absolutely. So Gregor's talked about how we've been able to help consumers to prove that they're creditworthy, to build a demonstrable credit history while they save, which does all the things that we talked about earlier, provides opportunity, capability, and resilience. But what we've learned through serving hundreds of thousands of members of Lockbox is that our proposition works really well in some respects for some. But for others, there's a fairly large barrier to entry, and it might be obvious to you if you thought about it, but Lockbox requires you to save regularly, to commit to a regular saving of between £20 and £200 per month for a period of 12 months. Fabulous if you can afford to save that amount per month consistently. And there are huge swathes of our society now, as employment has changed, as work has changed, and just through the kind of the standard circumstances that you might expect, who just simply aren't prepared to either make that commitment or aren't able to make that commitment. And we have for a year or so at Lockbox been exploring how to better serve those particular consumers. So what happens if you are a student and you're simply just not willing to commit to save £20 per month every month for something that may happen in the future? Or what happens if you're a gig economy worker and actually you might find that for 3 months you could save £20 comfortably, or you could save 3 lots of £20 in a month comfortably, but then in some months you can't. And where we've come to is a product that we're particularly proud of, that's going into pilot very shortly and will be available to the rest of the general public later this year, called Lockbox Spend, which allows consumers to use money that they can have with Lockbox as a spending tool to build their credit history while they spend, with retailers that they're all familiar with spending money with at the moment, so your grocery retailers, your online shops, etc., and earn cash back while you're doing it. So very, very excited, and we launched a wait list not that long ago, and we have tens and tens of thousands of people signed up to that wait list already. So we know that that's an exciting proposition. And we're also evolving and developing the education piece. So one of the things that we've learned from our members in the past is that when they come to Lockbox, they come to us for a credit builder more often than not, to build their credit score while they save. But actually, there are whole other swathes of their financial life that could benefit from a little bit of TLC sometimes, and some people are just confused by the relative lack of financial education they've ever had. So we launched back in 2019 a V1 of our financial plan that was extremely well adopted. Really very, very well adopted, actually, but far exceeded our, Gregor and my expectations of how many people would want to take that. And we have been busying away over the last couple of years in the background, turning that from something that is good into something that is really quite spectacular. So that's going to be coming out soon for our members as well, and we're very excited about that. As well as the product developments, and there are a whole load of others that some for obvious reasons I'm not going to talk to you about on this call, and some because we just simply don't have time. There's a whole load of other stuff that's coming that we're very excited about. That is to serve our customers in the UK and the US, in the markets that we already operate in. But beyond that, we have a whole load of other plans, which I think maybe I'll hand back to Gregor for.
Yeah, so thanks, Tom. We can't solve financial exclusion globally if we only go to the UK and the US. So we have a plan to expand into several other countries over the course of the next 3 to 5 years, and that's very exciting because ending financial exclusion in the developed economies, that's great. We're helping a lot of people who are going to live happier, better financial lives as a consequence of that, where the stresses and strains that they feel from managing their finances have been lifted away from them. However, how much more exciting is it to try and be part of the story to end financial exclusion in a place like Brazil or India, where financial exclusion actually could be the difference between life and death in certain cases, where you can't properly clothe or feed yourself because you're locked out of the system. And the products and services that we plan to take to those markets will inevitably be different. They'll have a different look and feel, but they're serving the same underlying issue. It always comes back to the 3 drivers that Tom outlined at the beginning: a lack of opportunity to participate in the system, a lack of financial resilience to take the shocks that life throws at you, and a lack of financial capability to understand how to get the best outcome for you. And understanding that those 3 principles, those drivers, that they form the principle of all the products that we produce, we feel very confident that over the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to be able to expand outside of the developed economies and start making a difference to some of the hardest hit people in the world. And just imagine a scenario. Let's take an India, for example. Imagine in India, if you could just take 5 or 10% of those people who live their entire lives in the grey economy, and you bring them into the more structured financial services sector, and with all of the benefits that go with that, the recognition, the legitimization of their finances and their lives. Think of the power that will have for those individuals. Think of the power that will have for the economies around them, think of the power that will have for the nation, and therefore with a nation the size of India, think of the power that might have for the rest of the world. It's something that Tom and I are hugely proud to be a part of. It's an effort that is, as Tom rightly said at the beginning, an obsession, and we really are looking forward to the next stages of Lockbox.
Brilliant. So hopefully that's been interesting. We've definitely talked for kind of 10 or 15 minutes about our mission. Hopefully it's clear the mission that we have, and I think probably in summary it's important to point a couple of things out, because inevitably you're probably almost certainly only going to remember a few things from this conversation. But firstly, financial exclusion isn't a charitable or a philanthropic endeavour. It can be a commercial imperative in some respects, exactly as Gregor's just said, by allowing hundreds of thousands of people in the UK, millions of people in the UK, tens of millions of people around the world to participate in the financial system. It makes good business sense for everybody involved. It allows everybody to unlock their economic potential, as well as genuinely improving lives. That's something that we're doing and have been successfully since 2017, and we look forward to continuing to do it over the next couple of years. We have some very exciting products coming out that we hope are going to be able to better allow us to serve the customers and the members that we have in the existing markets in the UK and the US, as well as the other markets that we move into. So remember, opportunity, capability, resilience. I'm sure that some of you watching, they're going to be building financial products and are running businesses. We think that those are the keys to making sure that people are included. We're very keen on promoting positive product building in that particular respect. I'm sure most of you are as well. So hopefully you found this interesting. Hopefully you've learned maybe a little bit about financial exclusion and how at least we're tackling it at Lockbox. And I think there's probably going to be some contact details for us at some point if anyone does want to get in touch. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.